Aaron.
Well, it wasn't live yet.
She can watch it, but she can't participate. So
Right,
it's got
yeah.
her
Okay,
input
that's
is needed for one of
Yeah.
the grant things. So I'm just gonna.
I think that's perfect, yeah. Sorry. Apparently, yeah.
We're gonna start the meeting, Laura. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, okay?
Just an item on here for next month.
Everyone ready? Good morning. I'm calling to order the Town of Niskayuna Water Sewer Engineering and Environmental Committee for Tuesday, February 3rd. What happens next?
Attendance.
Attendance, yes. I am Ashok Ramasubramanian, Chair, and I am present.
Cameron Stedfield.
Cameron, Aaron, Cassie Dorian.
Clark Henry.
Alina Finnan.
Debbie Harris.
Holly Garpino.
Janet Wynn.
John Rickard. Dan Volkey.
Okay, excellent.
Tim Walsh.
And Mr. Walsh and Mr. Rickett are here from the public. I want to acknowledge them and welcome them. So the next up is the review of the meeting minute. I read the minutes and I had some changes, all of them typographical. So I have a Word document with changes incorporated. I can send it to you, and then you can just like put it in there. But I didn't have substantive changes. Like anybody else had any changes? Okay, so I make the motion that we approve the minutes from last month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need to do that?
We do, that's good. We do have enough here, right? I wasn't here for that meeting.
Do you have the document, like saying who and how many we have to vote now, so I can have it? The new one that we
Yes,
just
it's
did
in
should
the
get.
packet. I can share it with you right now. actually.
Okay.
Okay, meeting minutes are approved. We will move on to attorney's items.
These are all new to me, so I don't know if.
Cameron. I sent you an email, but I didn't really follow up because there's no rush on this one. So I
Okay.
just threw them on there.
My
so.
big question in looking at this, that seems like in my opinion, a big issue is that we have somebody who did the work that would have required an outside user agreement before, so they should probably be taken and cited for that.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 of these have already been done.
But it's a bigger issue. I mean, they're all issues. It's a bigger issue when it requires an outside user agreement, because that's a process. Like, it's one thing when it's an agreement that 9 times out of 10, I should probably say, is okay. I don't know if Ray's looked at these and he's okay with them.
Oh yeah, all of these, like we
Other than the-
kicked around and been fine with. But yeah,
We might have to do something more with the outside user agreement, but I can take a look at the other ones. So let me make sure I understand the Myron Street one. They put a fence in a sewer.
that's the
easement.
one that they haven't actually done yet. That's the only
Okay.
one. So that's an easement that.
So the other ones say what the easement is, but what did they
They are
place?
both.
Are they fences, sheds,
I think
or?
they're both fences.
Okay. I don't know.
I was only adding them what you took.
Yeah. I just haven't really. think they're both fences.
And the dates that are in parentheses, what do those reflect?
Is that
They were in the email that you sent me.
they might just be the dates that the applications were.
We'll probably have to follow up on some of these, but I guess from the sounds of it, we could have some of these. The outside user agreement, I don't know if that will be ready to go for the meeting, but the easement agreements potentially, if they get back to me in time and have them signed and returned.
So Cameron, you can follow up with the attorney?
Yeah.
Town attorney and follow up, okay. Mr. Walsh and Mr. Rickett, please accept my apologies. I should have given you the floor earlier on in the meeting, so I'm going to take a break from item 2 before moving on to item 3. Mr. Rickert, would you like to address the committee?
No comments. Happy to be here.
Okay. Mr. Walsh?
Yes, thank you. Kevin Walsh with Whitmire Drive, and I got a couple different topics, and I'll try to be brief. I do appreciate the opportunity to speak, and thank you for all your time. First of all, I'd like to welcome Council Member Rama Subramanian to this committee and to the town board. Look forward to working with you. I'm a longtime resident of Whitmire Drive, and as the supervisor knows, I've had concerns about safety, especially with the tractor trailers coming down the street. And I'm not going to get into that completely here at this meeting today. We've talked about it many times, but what I would like to ask of you is when the weather breaks, maybe I could set up an appointment and you could walk Whitmire Drive with me, and I can give you the history and we could talk about it instead of taking up the board's time here.
I'd be happy to spend time with you, Mr.
So I'll
Walsh.
reach out with you, just my contact information on email, and we'll set something up when the weather gets nice. How's that?
I believe my information is on the website, but here's my card. It has my union address, but it's okay.
Okay.
Feel free to use it
Great.
if for some reason my
Yeah,
information.
we can talk about it, see how it's taking up time here. Second thing I need to talk about, I'm going to change hats. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees for Ingersoll Place Assisted Living Facility on Council Road. And so I'm representing Ingersoll Home today, in this capacity. I was interested to see what the effect of the new proposed water rates would be on the home. We're a big water user, 6 months over 1.1 million gallons was the last bill. So significant. So I wanted to crunch the numbers to see where we stand and what the impact would be on our budget over there. So they pulled the last bill, which was the bill that came out in October 3rd. And I was kind of surprised when I got the bill because I got 2 bills. I was like, we got 2 water meters, or what's going on over there? So I went over and I want to pop this on it, but this wasn't until yesterday. So I went over yesterday, went down to the basement, took a look. We have 1 3-inch water meter, compound meter. All right. And so then I went back to calculate the numbers to see what the impact would be with the new proposed rate structure. But when I was doing that, it looked to me that we were being overcharged on the current rate structure. We were being charged for the minimum usage for both water and sewer for 2 meters, but there isn't 2 meters. There's only 1 meter, and there's only one service. It's what they call a compound meter, compound flow meter. I don't know if you're familiar with those or not, Dan, but it's a 3-inch compound, and I know that the company there, Neptune, makes compound meters from 2 inches all the way up to 8 inches. So there's a good possibility there's similar meters at some of the other industrial or large commercial or possibly even complexes out there. So to me, it looks like we're being overbilled because we're paying the minimum on both meters, but it's really only one. It has a low flow and a high flow capability. So my understanding would be that you would add those 2 together, and that would be the basis. So you have your minimum for source 6 and your minimum for water, right? But that would be it. But if you look at the billing and you run the numbers, it looks like we're being charged for both. And when I run the what it would be if I'm correct, again, I'm going to have you guys actually have to look at it and obviously validate. But if I'm correct, it comes to like a $530 overcharge for the 6-month period, just for the last 6 months. And I don't know how long the new rate structure has been, 2 or 3 bills, something like that. But like I said,
like 4.
Yeah,
so it's possible that, it's obviously more than that. We use the same amount of water, 1 million gallons every 6 months. So I'm concerned, that we've been overpaying. Now,
We can look into that. Yeah, we can look into that.
and I got some information, Dan, my phone number and the copy of the bill for you, Dan. Make it easier
Ingersoll
for
is on my list too, of the ones that would see larger than most.
Well, I did the numbers. So you did the numbers both ways using the current bill, which I think is wrong, and it would be a savings, believe it or not.
If without the compound meter, but isn't
No,
it something
with the compound meter, it would be a savings because there's an error. Now, if I correct the error, which I believe we have, then it turns out that it would actually be an increase, which you would expect for a 3-inch meter because of the rate
like
structure.
the way it
And
is?
so it makes sense. So it kind of validates that something is wrong if it's cheap.
Yeah, explain though how that's actually on my list because there's a handful of places that have a similar situation. Is it that as soon as the flow gets higher, it triggers the second meter? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Flow normally, The purpose is at low flow rates, a larger water meter will be less accurate. And so, when you just have one, tap on or whatever, flow's going to go through the smaller side, probably 5/8 inch
I think
side.
it's in series, so it's just, I think the low flow is like, has a disc in it, and the high flow is a turbine.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
so it's measuring flow all times, but it gives you two readouts. So when it sends a signal out, it looks like there's two different things, but there's really only one meter, and there's only one line coming in. So I guess my request is that you take.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it for sure.
Not only us is saving some money, right? Past money that we may have spent, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Assuming I'm correct. But also, who else has compound meters out there? And is the problem similar?
Yeah.
Or anybody else that has anywhere from a 2 to an 8-inch compound Neptune meter?
Yep, we'll look into
So
it.
could be overcharged. Now, I don't know with the old rate structure, because I don't have, they only pulled the bill for the last one, so I don't know how, what the impact there would be. But, I think the Ingersoll's been over this new location with this meter since, I think, 2008. I approved it, but I don't
Yeah, I was
remember.
gonna say, you were here.
But 2008 or so. So this could be a billing problem that goes that far back potentially.
No, we'll look into any complaints, any
Yeah, that's what
billing
I'm talking about.
questions.
Just
We'll
like we
absolutely
covered
look
this.
into it. We want to make sure that it's correct and you're
Yeah.
comfortable.
So here's the bill. It's a 3-inch Neptune meter. There's my contact information.
Thank you.
Calculate what it should be. I think you add those two readings together. And if you do that, it actually comes out to 500 and my number is $531 approximately less than what it shows there. So
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. We'll be happy to follow up.
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome Ms. Steenberg to the meeting. And this is the time we are asking the public to speak. So Ms. Steenberg, if you have remarks to present to the committee.
I just wanted to find out where we are with getting approvals from the Department of Health with the reintroduction of the caustic soda. And just as a follow-up to that, for those people who have filtration systems in order to have safe drinking water, we're now approaching the 6-month period, which means that filters need to be swapped out. Some kind of a time frame. I think people need a time frame to see how many months we're looking at before we'll have safe drinking water again. And if it is the case, it's going to be months. We need to look at filters for people who have been given filtration fixing.
So I believe we have a discussion item for the.
I can answer that right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Your drinking water is safe.
With the filtration system.
No, your drinking water is safe.
And I'm not going to get into it further here, but obviously the state felt that we were above the EPA limit and that I needed a filtration system.
No, they did not.
Okay, I'm gonna step in here. I'm gonna step in here as chair. Please, we do.
Water is above EPA limits. I would appreciate you putting my son and my family in harm's way. In your opinion, that's totally okay.
Ms. Steenberg, like we do want to help you, and
We got a meeting with the EPA. I'll handle it with them. If this is the attitude, forget it.
Ms. Steenberg, we do want to work with you. Okay, item 3, engineering.
Let's start with the stormwater update. I believe Clark has an update on that.
Sure thing, Sid. As always, this is a group effort. I'm just kind of giving an update. We did get our preliminary, our draft final report last week from our outside engineering firm, KB Engineering. So we've circulated that to Cameron and Dan, and Laura and I are reviewing that. There are, as we talked, there's a couple kind of key contributors to.
You mentioned the Mohawk
stormwater,
Golf
right.
Club and the school.
In the school, right. So we're kind of reading the report right now and sharing it with those parties. And, I would think the next meeting, the March meeting, we could give a little update on that report if people would like that. So
Okay.
we're kind of just absorbing it, processing it, and we'd like to share it with those people just to look at options. It presents a couple options for what could be done.
This is exactly what you want. You want to drive me out, and I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you, Clark. Like this is a project in which you are, following the rule of prevention is better than cure, and like you're addressing the thing before it blows up in people's faces, and so very very grateful for that, and uh, talking to big stakeholders like the Mohawk Golf Club and the schools, and like keeping them part of the community and touching base with them. Like I'm sure there'll be other issues that we would need to talk to them about, and those relationship building exercises are of really good value. Okay, asset management software.
Asset
Daniel?
management, we've purchased the Lumen asset management software. We've had 2 work sessions with them so far, and over the next 6 months or so, we'll be working closely with them, getting our information into the software. We've been working together in the 3 areas: the water sewer department, the 2 plants, and the garage, to organize the data. And all of our group leaders are involved getting data into our spreadsheet so that we can get it transferred into the software. We're excited about what it's showing so far, with being able to keep track of all of our assets, and to get a better idea of making sure we stay on the maintenance schedule of everything. We've got a lot of money invested in our plants and our facilities, and this is one tool that we're using to help us use our time the best, efficient, and use the team together to be able to know what each other's working on and helping each other out throughout the department. And so we're excited for the direction that this is going, and we're all in on it.
And Daniel, like last week, as you mentioned, this is the software that if there's a water mains break in some place, like you can like put a pin on it, and then instead of having paper notes and such, like it'll
Exactly.
get us,
have that record,
yeah.
long-term record. Down a little bit further, I'm going to talk about water main breaks. Actually, the next item. The guys,
we can move on to
the guys had a water main break last night. They started at 9 p.m. last night, and they didn't get done till 6:30 a.m. So while each of us were in our bed, and that is after working a full 8-hour day yesterday. I have an extreme amount of respect for these guys that go out there when it's 0 degrees and spend the night working on our water mains so that our residents can have a warm shower in the morning. These guys take this seriously. We've after one of the water main breaks in January, we had a residential complaint come in at 1 a.m. saying, "Why are these guys pounding out here? I'm trying to sleep. Why are these guys? Couldn't they wait until regular hours to do this work?" And my response is no. Our resident, even if it's just 6 residents on the road, and their water shut down, we're going to do whatever we can to have water up and going by 6 o'clock so that they can have a hot shower and be able to get about their business for the day.
I'm very grateful for your team's hard work, Daniel. Like as I mentioned at the very beginning of my January meeting, I grew up in a time and place where we did not have clean water. And in my first semester of college, I got malaria. In my second semester of college, I got hepatitis, both related to unclean water. So, if we run into the people who work from 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., I'd really like to thank them personally.
And we have, residents. I mean, of course, we're right in front of their house with, huge equipment. It's not hard to miss. some residents come out and are just extremely appreciative. Any of those comments from the residents go a long ways. It's, if to the public, if you're seeing these guys out here working their butts off, it's not easy. It's not easy. And even just a little email, to the department, of appreciation really goes a long way for the morale for the guys down at the garage and that do this work. And so that's very appreciative when we do receive those comments from the
And
public.
do you have numbers for January?
So we had 6 water main breaks in January, 2 valve repairs. These valves, okay, it's similar to a water main break. We got to do a full excavation down there. What happens is the bolt material, they rot out, and we've got to replace the bolts with stainless steel bolts or other materials that are more robust.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. In the interest of time, can you quickly go through B and C of item 4?
You bet. We still got an open position at the garage for another worker. We had a few resumes come in, and we're considering those. When the purchase of a crash safety trailer, when we have water main breaks out on DOT roads such as Route 7, higher speeds, we're required to take safety measures, and one of those is a crash trailer. You see that, if perhaps a vehicle comes in and doesn't get out of the lane, if we've got it closed, they'll hit that crash trailer, and it'll be a safe way for them to, a safer way to not get injured in the car themselves. DOT is requiring that we purchase this piece of equipment. It's approximately, I don't know if you have the number, Deb. This is on the state contract. I want to say it was about $20,000 for a crash trailer. This is required by DOT. We've currently had to call DOT, and they've brought one out, but they've said, look, you guys got to get your own. This is your issue. And so we've priced it out, and it's just a mandatory piece of equipment that we're going to need to purchase to have on hand. We even did $26,000 is what this costs. We even reached out to some of the other municipalities close by to see if they had one, if they're interested in, maybe sharing the cost with us, Colony, and that hasn't worked out at this point. And so we're looking to get this purchased for $26,000.
Thank you, Daniel. Let's move on to item 5, utility billing. And first, I'd like to acknowledge the extreme amounts of hard work put in by the supervisor to get us into this place. I have heard from small businesses and nonprofits that they would only believe it when they see the actual new bill, but from what they're hearing and using the rate calculator online and all that, they've been satisfied. It is not an easy thing to go from a total paradigm shift, right? Going from one method to another method, working with a consulting firm. So good work, Madam Supervisor. So let's talk a little bit about item 5, subsection A, which is to make sure those small people who would see higher increases, we approach them individually, etc.
Yes, I made that list that we should go over. A lot of them are the apartment complexes that don't have individual meters, right? So they have this. There's only maybe less than 5 that are going to see a ridiculous increase that we really need to look at and make sure that we're able to give them some good advice about allocating them. The rest of them are they didn't see an increase when everybody else did. So it's a correction, but it's a correction that probably should have happened when everybody else's correction happened. So while it's, it's sort of just a function of costs getting higher, it's not as big of a swing as it would be. It's not like the rest of us kind of, let's say we went up 60, 70%, and now we're kind of hovering in that area, up or down 5%. These folks are going up a little over 100%, but they never saw that 70% increase. But since at least half of them are moderate to low income housing, we really want to make sure that that is not going to be passed off to our residents living there. So we really do need to have individual conversations, which might actually push us out a little bit further than I'd like, but I want to make sure that we get it right. So if we have to make modifications to redistribute things, then we should do it now rather than later.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Moving on to item 5, subsection B, discussion and call for a public hearing. The only thing I can say is I do not understand any of it. So will somebody who does understand quickly explain what?
I'll just be super brief because we don't have the actual language that it needs to change to, because we can't really change these sections, most of them, until we decide what the rate design is going to be. Or we could make these sections much more generic, sort of language that takes us outside of town code to make changes. Right now, it's incredibly specific and it's not at all representative of what we would be changing it to. So I think it would probably be Elena and I going through these sections that describe how we're distributing the costs and making sure they're either generic enough that we can make the changes no problem, or that we're setting it up with the language, with the rate design that we're actually using. And then there's a couple other things in there. I pulled down some sections about metering. We have at least, I think we said somewhere around 500 locations where the meter that's in your home it's digitally read, right? The truck goes by, picks up the information from your meter. They have batteries in there that last anywhere from 13 to 16 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. When they start to die, even though we would all like to think that they speed up and that's why our bill is so high, they actually slow down, which, if we're talking about people paying their fair share, is obviously not going to be indicative of what they're actually using. We have to find some way of articulating the town's need to get into a home to change that battery during those time periods. It becomes strikingly obvious when you look at their usage when that starts to plummet. And we know of at least 500 locations that we need to get into their homes. So there needs to be some mechanism to get us in there, whether it's, hey, we're going to estimate your, go back to when the usage was more steady and then estimate that over a few years. I think Josh reached out to a couple other municipalities to try to find language that other people are using so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But
the battery cost, is it the town's responsibility, or
We own the meter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
the
Town owns the meter.
which is problematic because it's in a private home. So
Okay.
it's, how do we get
Okay.
in there to maintain things? But
Okay.
in some cases, I think the entire assembly has to be replaced for some of the older meters too, correct? So there's a handful of situations. We're trying to find language that works. We're hoping that maybe we could put some things out there that people who were reaching out to and saying we need to get in there and fix the battery. It really helps us out to not have to push hard or be, use the code in order to push our way in there. It would be great if people would just say, yes, sure, come in and, replace the battery. But sometimes that doesn't happen. So that's the other section that I had pulled down.
Okay, thank you, Madam Supervisor. Okay, item D, fall residential commercial billing reconciliation.
So D, E, and F are all just like I put them on there.
Thank you, Clark.
They're numbers I get from Chris Lachinsky. And it just, it's the time of year that we need to put it on there. So we have to put a warrant on there because without the warrant, we can't send out the bills.
Okay.
And then the other ones are just reconciliations from the past bills. So it's just strictly like on there. So then I know we need to do the resolutions and then.
Would you classify this as routine stuff?
Yeah, routine. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Moving on to item G.
This is for the Neptune 360 software for reading our water meters. We met with the team with Neptune 360 as well as our water meter billing FlexiBill, and they're working closely together to get this transfer file put together. They have not indicated that there will be a cost for this work. And so it's likely we will not need a resolution for this.
Harris isn't gonna charge us?
Oh, they've already,
We pay for regular maintenance, and so not an additional fee to, yeah, sometimes they'll charge an additional fee to do this programming that's
Yeah,
required.
that's what they had sent to me.
I mean, the only bill I've seen from Harris so far is just the normal 6-month bill, but then they added $5,000 for an upgrade. It was,
Harris did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just for the first half of the year.
That would be why they're charging us, because that's more than they would have charged us. What are they upgrading us to?
Something on their server system, their SQL data.
Didn't I send you that bill? Did I send you that bill? I thought I sent you that bill so you could look at it.
Probably because you're like, I better avoid sending it because Harris triggers me. Okay.
Is Harris the firm that owns Flexible?
Yes.
Is it, what's the?
Harris School Solutions is the name, like,
They're all working together and progressing forward. I know they've worked with Chris to get the files downloaded and uploaded to her computer, and so far so good with that. And I did make note that we've all got to work together to make this happen so that we can get, when it's time to put out our bills for the next quarter, that everything's completed, ready, and working.
Thank you, Daniel. Moving on to wastewater treatment plant. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite places. I never thought it would, but
Nobody ever thinks it, but
The hidden gem of Niskayuna.
yes, we have a biogas generator, and like I've seen the water, like when it comes through our pipes, the input to the plant, if you will, and I've seen the water that goes to the river. Oh my gosh,
amazing.
it's magic. It's so cool. Okay, Daniel, please go ahead.
So with the Chobani trucks, they've indicated that the way they've added a reverse osmosis system at their facility, and so they'll be reducing that way. And another product that they have is the DAF dissolved air flotation waste on that. And so we're looking at that right now. Reached out to our engineer to take a look at that and do a quick little analysis that we can get everything going on that and feel comfortable with that.
Okay, and Daniel, thank you for finding the substitute for the whey, so that
Right.
and we are actually getting more money because of the harder to digest product.
Yeah, it's a little bit different material, and will take a little bit more work on our end, and so it'll be,
That is excellent. If B and C are protein purchases, can you quickly go through those?
Yeah. The electric motor. This is for the blowers that run the aeration system. We've had a few issues with them tripping out, and so we want to have one on hand so that if we have an issue and one goes down, that we've got one right there ready to go in and maintain those blowers. The environmental services disposal of chemicals. We've got older oil waste from our dryer, some other chemicals that we have down there. We can't just throw those in the garbage, and they need to be recycled properly and taken through the right locations. And so Safety Clean is a third party that we're working with to make sure that they get taken to the right place.
Yeah, I'm, because of my work in the college, I'm familiar with this. I think we use a company called Stericycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
It's the same kind of thing. Okay, moving on to
Purchase of CPEX pump. This is a part of item D. This is a pump for the call it a gravity belt thickener, as a part of that thickens the sludge to help the digesters run more efficiently, being able to run the solids through the digesters a second time. Right now that pump is down. We've had it taken apart, and we've got it at one of our suppliers. Last month, we approved a purchase from Seawert Equipment. That's one of our regular equipment suppliers. CPEX, this type of pump is only repped through Seawert, and so to be able to get this turned around quickly, we'd be using some of those funds that have already been approved through that Seawert. And that's the purpose of it, is to be able to quickly use funds that are maybe higher than the initial threshold to be able to get equipment back up and running quickly. VT SCADA item E, VT SCADA update security Avanti control systems. This is to a security patch into the SCADA systems, both at the water plant and the wastewater plant, keep them secure and updated. And so this is one of the contractors that we work with that did the work on the water plant control system, that has the ability and authorities to be able to access that security system and install those patches.
And before we move on to item 7, just wanted to quickly acknowledge the hard work done by Daniel and his team. I've been having the quote unquote regular work hours on Thursday afternoons, and a lot of those times, like Daniel is at the wastewater treatment plant or something somewhere else, like getting his hands dirty with this and that, and then other people doing repairs in real time. Takes a lot of work to service a town with 20,000 plus residents and keep the water flowing and the sewage properly treated. It's just beginning to learn about all the hard work that they're doing, and I'm deeply appreciative. Thank you to your team, Daniel.
We had a couple sensors go down at the wastewater plant on one of the pump stations, and Ashok came down and helped me get the sensors working right and get
the help is a very liberal, more like moral support.
He helped me stand in the cold. We got it back online so that we can get the pump station working.
Okay, let's move on to item 7. As I understand, there is some indication that increasing the pH could help, but these results are still preliminary.
Yeah, still preliminary. So we did, we pulled the sample, the 120-day coupons in January, and had them sent to a laboratory to get tested, weighed, and we did receive back that the results of that testing, and they do similar to the 60-day test, further indicate that would assist by adding the caustic soda or increasing the pH slightly would benefit. We have taken that same setup with the coupons and put it in the JP pump station. So we receive water from the city of Schenectady that goes through the JP pump station. And right now we're doing, we've got coupons there running that a similar analysis to see how that's going to affect how the rates are on that, if they're similar.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Could I try explaining item B, and then you would correct me if I'm wrong? Okay, so we are on camera, so do correct me if I say something wrong. So lead service line notification update is because of a new EPA regulation called the lead and copper rule. And all municipalities are required to notify homeowners, although not all at the same time. The municipalities are allowed to do this in little by little. So there are several categories, but notification is necessary for lead, galvanized, and something else. Unknown. So that this only concerns the section of pipe from the town's water mains into the household, and if the homeowner gets a notification that it could be unknown or galvanized or lead pipe, then then sadly the town doesn't have the funds to go in and replace the pipe for them. Like that would be the homeowner's responsibility. It would also be the homeowner's responsibility to do any testing on their drinking water to see if there is lead in it. But the town can confirm that there's no lead going into the house from the water mains on the street. Did I get all that
Yep,
right?
Yep.
I have one question. What's the requirement for copper with the lead?
Solder. I'm not sure, was that
I don't think they care about that for this rule.
for that?
Yeah,
Stupid.
for
They
those
have this-
houses,
I know
the
that
houses
makes no
between
sense.
83 and 86.
It's so
yeah.
inconsistent. Okay, sorry.
And that's required. This is one of those new requirements that takes up a lot of time. It's a requirement and we have to abide by each requirement. So EPA, federal EPA laws, we need to notify the residents if their water service is lead or galvanized or unknown, if we don't know what it is. And so we have to do that annually. And so each resident is going to receive that notification annually.
And Daniel and Cameron, like knowing what you know, if a resident wants to use a private firm, a water testing firm, to take a little sample and send it back to them and for lead, how much would it cost the homeowner?
That I do not.
I know individual copper tests
Yeah.
were $65 each.
$65.
I
Okay.
don't know if it's the same price for lead.
Okay, that's a good data point to have, right? Because lead is lead, and people get alarmed, understandably, right? So we can at least like even if the town is not required to do X and Y, we can at least say, such and such options are available to you. Okay.
Does anybody know, like, how did it start? How did this whole lead and copper start? Because were homes getting lead hits? I mean, it seems like all the operators we talked to, they're like, no, we don't get lead hits in our town.
No, it was like a national initiative, and it just has trickled down to all of the local. What like 5 years ago they started talking about it, and they just said we want to get rid of all the lead pipes in the country. That's really where, and so it's starting this way by identifying it, and then they're trying to have these pockets of
I
money.
mean, I've lived in Niskayuna my whole life. The two houses that I've lived in Niskayuna are definitely the one I have now, it's lead pipe. I mean, they have had lead pipes. I've never once. I've drank tap water my whole life. I've never had an issue.
Right. Well, and that's a part of the controls and corrosion control chemicals that we add. We've got this orthopolyphosphate that we add to the water. NSF certified. It's safe for drinking. And the purpose of that is to it reacts with any metals that it's touching, which would be the pipe material, and creates a thin film on the inside of the pipe, so that the water that passes through the pipe actually doesn't touch the metal, the lead. And so that's why it doesn't pick up, and it doesn't pick up the lead.
And that's standard industry practice.
Very standard industry practice. Very standard industry practice.
Okay.
I was going to ask the mailing that went out to everybody. If you responded to Matt Yetto was building a database one time. If you responded to the database that you had copper, did you still get a note? I still got a notice.
You'll get a notification if you haven't identified the second half of your service line from your shut off valve outside in the yard to the actual main.
Oh, okay. Which
So that part will
dig it up. It's everybody.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Really?
So it's
Okay, so
it'll
copper. I did my neighbors. I sent them pictures.
yeah. So we'll have half of your service line identified as copper. That is in there, but you'll still get the unknown. Yeah.
Dismiss.
No,
And
I have all of those.
at the end of the day, this is federal government. It's not the sort of people you ask questions with and argue with. If they say do this,
You do it.
So section 7, item C.
A purchase of a high lift pump, flow control valve. I got a call a couple weeks ago it was a Saturday or Sunday afternoon from Josh at the water plant saying one of our pumps is leaking significantly. we're not quite sure what's going on. So we had them shut it down and start one of the other pumps. The flow control valve was not functioning properly. And so this is to purchase a new flow control valve. These valves are not cheap. The cost on that one, $36,000, I think,
Yikes.
is what the install price is on that.
What is the shelf life of these things, Daniel? Like once you put it in, how long
The
is it?
existing valve is 50 years old.
Okay.
The existing valve is 50 years old. We got a price to either rebuild that valve or to replace it. I want to say to rebuild it, it was like $27,000 or $28,000. And so we're looking at the options there, and I think it might be time to replace it. And we're getting to that life of a lot of our utilities components that 50 years. It's time to replace stuff. At the same time, keep track of the replacement. Make sure that not just we as the ones that are working here today in 2026 know what's going on, but that database of in the year 2050 that they have the same resources and data that we have of when our equipment gets replaced and renewed. And so that's a part of the whole asset management program.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel. Laura, you're on speakerphone. If you have any items for environmental and from the Climate Smarts Communities Task Force.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that the Conservation Advisory Council Climate Smart Communities Task Force meeting is really big this Wednesday, February 4th. We're looking at 7 planning board projects. A minor subdivision to add a new house at 2727 Balltown Road, right next to the old Aqueduct Animal Hospital. GE Vernova is requesting to build a new building. GE Vernova entrance on the Balltown Road side, which would be like sort of a right on the road, like an entrance security building there that people would be able to see. It's a very nice proposal. Momentive, which is right next door to GE Vernova, is also planning a new addition to their R&D center at 46 Commerce Park Drive. They have an application in to build a brand new daycare building there. Aqueduct 2757 Aqueduct Road, Niskuna Harbor, the plan unit development made some big strides at planning board yesterday, and so that would be potentially moving forward with a public hearing soon. And then Matthews Kia is for site plan, as well as another more subdivision on Rose Mill Road. As far as the climate smart initiatives go, we're still needing to work on our climate action plan, which is where we did one meeting internally. It's where we get together and we figure out different ways that we can recommend to different departments, government operations to reduce energy and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Some of our other things are kind of slow right now. Pesticide outreach and composting, it's pretty cold. I know if you want to mention we're still working on our grant to 100% grant to purchase land and keep it as forest. We're working on that. And then the other thing I want to mention is we talked about this at the last meeting. I think Quiet Niskuna next step. So we did a ordinance where we adopted the goals of Quiet Niskuna, which is to help encourage people to move to electric landscaping equipment because it's quieter and it's healthier and it has much less greenhouse gas emissions in the Northeast. So they did write a proposal and they did go through the environmental impact statement, and I will forward that to you today. I'd like to have Elena just look at the language, but essentially it would basically say that gas and diesel powered leaf blowing equipment would be prohibited except from October 1st to December 15th between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. So when there's a lot of leaves, you'd be able to use the gas and diesel powered leaf blowing equipment, but at other times of the year, we'd really be encouraging people to use the quieter lawn equipment if that's what they wanted to do. So I'll send you guys the actual written proposal for comments. And then hopefully we could discuss it more at our next meeting and see if we wanted to be ready to forward it to the town board.
Thank you, Laura. I had a couple of quick comments regarding the new projects. Momentive's new building, GE Veranova new building, and the other new constructions. Back when I was at the CAC, we'd always made it a priority to try to preserve forest land as much as possible, try to preserve wetlands as much as possible, most of the times the landowners were amenable to modifications of their plans to protect nature, because having more nature in our town benefits everyone, all of the residents. It keeps our property values at a higher level. So I'm sure you will, the CAC will do its due diligence, but I also, as a former CAC member, wanted to say that, please look at the environmental impacts carefully.
Yeah, 100%. The GE Vernova building, it's right at the intersection of Balltown Road and GE's driveway. So there's one big large spruce tree, but it's mostly actually either grass or just buckthorn scrub. GE Momentive, the new building is actually going in between two existing buildings where they're removing 3 additions. So it's sort of like they're taking down part of the building and then putting in a new building right in the similar footprint. And then the daycare building in Commerce Park is also just a field right now. I mean, fields are very good environmentally too, but I don't think it's like Blatnick Field. The one that has the most removal of trees is the Niskuna Harbor, which I know we looked at a little bit. We are going to continue to work on that, but they are also proposing to, keep forested everything kind of north of the canal bed, for trail systems for the public.
And looping in the grants that you and I are working on, Laura, is it possible to, acquire some land from the Mohawk Harbor folks, land that they do not intend to build on, so that we can set it aside as forever wild?
Yeah, as part of the PUD process, they basically have to do that.
Basically have to do that. Gotcha. Thank you. So the grant that Laura mentioned earlier is a grant opportunity from the DEC. It is a zero match grant that lets the town acquire private property and set it aside as forested land for hiking trails, and just basically preserving forest in existing municipalities. At the state level, Governor Hochul's administration wants to preserve as much forest land in New York as possible, and municipalities like ours, which are nearly at full build capacity, are would be good applicants for this grant, and it has no match requirement, right? So if we get the money, we can just use it to purchase land. So Laura and I are working on contacting individual landowners and seeing if they would be amenable to sell the land to us. We are also working with the Mohawk Hudson Land Conservancy. So it is possible for the town to write a grant where we pay for it, but we don't take ownership of it, and Mohawk Hudson Land Conservancy would take ownership of it and liabilities and everything else. So there are some moving parts here, but fortunately they extended the deadline, so we have a little bit of breathing room. It's April 15th. Thank you, Laura. And the other grant that we are working on is a grant through Phil's Tech's office, and I will pass this around. So Phil's Tech's office reached out to us and said they are willing to make an ask to the legislature for community projects among the districts that Phil's Tech serves. So I proposed a water infrastructure improvement for Niskayuna. Happy to report that we were selected by Phil's Tech's office as one of the projects to move forward. That doesn't mean the state is going to give us money. They made it very clear to us, and I'm making it very clear to you all. So last year they said they put forth 12 projects, and between 5 and 7 got funded. So that's their average. So, but we are one of the 12 projects that they are putting forward. They wanted a 1-pager and a 2-paragraph description, and I've been working with Daniel and the supervisor to craft those. May I send it today? Is it okay?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Daniel?
Yeah,
Okay. So with that, I will send it to Phil's Tech's office to put their ask to the legislature. Separately, we are going to be in the future looking to grants from other state agencies, and we are working with some. We hope to work with some engineering firms that offer grant writing services.
Sorry, we're starting another meeting at 9:30, so we're just trying to coordinate.
Okay.
We're doing a symphony here.
All right. So and that's on the cards as well. And running the water, sewer, and engineering department is a lot of it's a lot of work. In the last meeting, I asked how many people are there in the water, sewer, and engineering department? And the answer is 3. All of them are in this room, around this table right now. And obviously I can't replace the valves and things like that, but I can do some grant writing and asking people for money, and that part I'm happy to take on. Next meeting is on March 3rd. February has 28 days, which is a multiple of 7, which means February 3rd translates to March 3rd for the next meeting. So with that,
Can I add just a real quick note that
yes.
we received a letter from the rowing club down on Aqueduct Road to take a look at some of the flooding challenges that they have. We've received it. We're looking into it and working with the county and state on that. With the frozen ground right now, there's not a whole lot that we can look at right now, but we are looking into it. Just to let you know.
Are you an MD? I just wanted to have that on the record. Are you an MD?
I'm going to.
I'm sorry. This is the second time that I've been attacked by this man. The other time you did it, we were alone in my home and I had to ask you to leave. This is inappropriate. It's inappropriate. I had 2 polite questions. Neither of them were responded to. Are you an MD?
Miss Steenberg,
Dare you speak about EPA, what you feel is correct when you're not qualified?
Ms. Steenberg, I'll please stay back. I'd like to follow up with you on your concerns. We do take them
I am
seriously.
not going to be intimidated by Dan and spoke anymore. Not in the privacy of my home, not at a meeting.
I would like to have a motion to adjourn. Ms. Steenberg, if you hold on for a little bit, we will follow up. I will follow up with you. Anybody
I'll make a motion.
make motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, we started 2 minutes late and we finished on time. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. See you everyone. Jeannie, will you be in your office later on?
Downstairs. Oh.